say,
Tommy, raise up the thing. You're tall.
you can't hear me. I could probably use this without even using a microphone. Thank you. How happy Betsy and I are that everyone who cares about Lauren and Joe are all here tonight and to share this joyous occasion. And particularly, we want to be we're thankful for all the people who traveled long distances. I'm trying to think. Ohio, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, New York, California, Hawaii, London, and I think a couple of guys escaped from a Turkish prison to make it here tonight. It's a tribute to these two, how much people care about them. I'd like to say a few things about my darling daughter, Lauren. Many of you here have been touched by Lauren's thoughtfulness. It's a trait that was inherited from her mother and nurtured by her mother, and for which we're all grateful for. Lauren is also, besides that, she's responsible and creative and smart and funny and fun to be with, and those of you who know her well also know that she has a rapier-like wit and does not suffer fools gladly. She uses sarcasm the way a lumberjack uses a chainsaw, but gets her points across, and it's always funny. That's a trait definitely not inherited from her mother. We're not sure where that came from. We're still investigating. But most of all, Lauren is unfailingly thoughtful. Like her mother, she'll spend a great deal of time and effort for the benefit of others and expect nothing in return. I remember when she was younger, she'd be in her room working on some collage or a scrapbook for a friend's birthday, and she's spending hours, days on this stuff, and it would happen periodically because she would do it, a lot. And I'd come to the room and Lauren, I don't think these kids can appreciate all the effort and time we put into this. Are you sure? And she just would wave me off. She's gonna do what she's gonna do. That's Lauren, And when she's younger than that, when she was about 6 or 7, the kids were all in the kitchen, and Justin's having his cereal, and Rachel's probably trying to crawl in the electrical box or a knife or something unusual. And Lauren's on the floor, humming and singing away, and she's got this giant piece of paper, 6-foot long piece of paper, and she's drawn an outline of a man, and she's just coloring it in. And the thing is, when most kids will make a Father's Day card for their dad, which is great, but Lauren is making a life-size portrait of her dad, spending all day coloring in and just having a great time doing it. That's just how wonderful she is. As parents, not much was required of us with Lauren. She's like a self-cleaning oven. She figures everything out in advance and solves all the problems and has everything printed out in triplicate for all affected parties. And if by chance there's anything she didn't foresee, she'll solve that problem in short order. She's a good decision maker and like I said, very creative. For example, we didn't have to do much for this wedding, because everything is on spreadsheets, timed down the last minute, and where everybody should be, when, why they should be there. It was, as a matter of fact, this speech better be done in 5 minutes, because that's what she said I had, 5 minutes. And the band's supposed to start at 8:30, and whether they start or not, the clock starts at 8:30, they're getting paid. So I'm supposed to be done by now. To this day, it's always a pleasure when Lauren comes home. She's always humming and singing around the house and always upbeat and positive, unless she's being savagely sarcastic, but even then it's always funny, so it's just a treat to have her around. The thing is, it's really rare that someone that's so responsible and goal-oriented can also be so whimsical and fun-loving, and so it begs the question, who's ever going to be good enough for Lauren? And I always thought nobody, but about 3 years ago, Lauren accompanied Betsy and I for a weekend to Florida, and we were in the car on our way to the hotel, and Lauren says, Dad, I've met a guy, who might be the one. And I said, oh, yeah, well, what's his name? She says, Joe. And I said, Joe who? And she says, Joe Serena. And so I'm hearing Joe Serena, but I'm picturing Joe Pesci. Jesus, are you kidding me? I said, is this guy playing ball? And she says, yes, he played football. I said, really? I said, what position? Well, she didn't know, so she texts Joe, and Joe texts back that he played center. I said, Joe Pesci's an offensive lineman? How big is this guy? So she says, I don't know. How do you not know how big he is? Is he 6'9", 295? Is he 5'2"? So Lauren texts Joe, and Joe states his height and weight. And then, so this line of questioning didn't go on too long, and Lauren get pretty frustrated. She said, Dad, don't you want to know, what kind of person he is or how he treats me? And, I had been tipped off by Mrs. Bentley that Lauren was seeing someone seriously, so I just assumed that she asked all the important questions. Plus, Lauren is saying some guy is the one. If you don't think this guy's been well vetted already? I'm sure Secret Service agents don't have to go through such a Now, we didn't actually meet Joe until a couple months later, and of course, Joe is an affable, gregarious guy who's respectful. He's the kind of guy you like right away. But it wasn't until a few months later. It was in the spring, and we had long story. We had a pool water that was sitting all winter, dirty old pool. It got pumped into our basement, and like I say, long story. But anyway, a massive cleanup was needed, and so Lauren came out to help, and she brought Joe with her, So the thing is, you're knee deep in all this stuff, and you're trying to, you're not only trying to do your work, but you're trying to organize simultaneously what everybody else is doing. It's just a big headache. But I didn't do much with Joe. He got there, didn't stick his hands in his pocket and say, what are you going to do? He saw what he was doing. He just jumped in with both feet, started working like a one-man army. And he worked furiously, nonstop, the entire time, until there was nothing left to do, which was most of the day. So later I pulled Lauren aside and I said, Joe might be a keeper. Betsy and I are very glad that Lauren and Joe found each other, and we're very happy to welcome Joe and his family into our family. And this is supposed to be a part of I'm not supposed to. There's only one true happiness in life, and that's to love and be loved, and that's what we wish for Lauren and Joe. So I ask you to join me and raise a glass and join me in wishing Joe and Lauren all the best for a long and happy life together. Yeah.